Okay, so you can't make that kind of comparison. You know why? Different times. Halls was best in his time, right? He has his qualities, his abilities, his way of being, his weight. That was Halls. Then came Rickson with his abilities, his style, his everything. And the Gracies always have somebody. It's a big family. At the same time that Rickson was still there, who came along out of the blue and put Jiu-Jitsu on the map? Horst, that was just a kid. And Hardian came up with the idea of creating the UFC. And here we are. Jiu-Jitsu grew worldwide. So, can I compare Halls to my son? How? Impossible. It gets faded through time. You know, you can compare Carlos, Eddie Gracie, or Carson to Roger. It's impossible. You can't compare. At that time, Carlos was the man, and then George, his brother, was doing the valitudes. Andrew came along with his new techniques and reinventing Jiu-Jitsu at a certain point. And then Halls came along, and reinvented Jiu-Jitsu as well, because Carson was right before him. Carson was a very well-built, extremely strong person. And then Halls came along, winning everybody and everything with only 70 kilos. Not that Andrew and Carlos weren't small, because they were. So, during that period of time, yes, it was the weak against the strong because they were tiny. Rickson was a bit more structured. Yeah? And, along with Rickson, you had Carlinhos, you had Crowley. Right after that came a whole new generation of fighters. Royce, Renzo, Helium. These guys were the best at their time. And then came along another generation. And Roger stood out. But who did Roger learn from all these? Roger is a mixture of, first of all, me, because I was his father and I've been bothering him in the house, outside the house, in the garden, everywhere, holding him in my legs, putting him guard and bothering. And then he started training at that time with Renzo, when Renzo opened his first gym in Rio. But then he moved to his mother's house for a while. And that was in Baja. So he trained at the Gracie Baja, and Renzo moved to New York by then. So then he came that structure of the Gracie Baja family, and he competed throughout all of his years with the Gracie Baja patch on his back. So, and it was that time that Gracie Baja was the stronghold of Jiu-Jitsu in Rio. Man, that was a place to train. Oh. But, and then came the 90s, where the UFC exploded and Jiu-Jitsu became the most wanted martial art to learn. So most of, or all of these Brazilians moved. America, Australia, all over the world, mostly America. And Roger ended up in England. And here he stayed. He opened his first gym in 2003. That was the year he got his black belt. 2004, he fought Jacare and broke the guy's arm. And there we go after that. Everybody knows the story. So, yeah, for a longer period of time, I think Roger, from 2003-4, all the way to 2010, nobody fought better than Roger. And he proved himself by fighting Buchecha. Years later, Buchecha being what he is, 20 kilos heavier and 10 years younger. And he won by submission. How great was that? That was amazing. You know, a guy come out of the blue and fight with the guy that's the current world champion and submit him in 7 minutes. Whew. It was amazing. Proved how perfect, I can't say perfect, but how great a fighter he is. So, I think in the long run, yeah, he's the greatest competitor that ever lived. But in this era, yeah, it's a different eras. So that's why sometimes people, was Hose the best ever lived? Yeah. But he died. And another fighter came along, and then another fighter came along. So during that period of time, that was the best fighter, that was the best. It's like, and history and life moves on, giving way to younger people and new talents come along and make way for new people. It's very difficult to compare. If you, it's very, you can say, oh, he was the greatest fighter that ever lived. In his time, yeah. But you can't compare. Did they train? No. Who would beat who? Nobody knows. Oh, he had a really good technique, but try sparring with Roger.